The following program contains mature themes which may not be appropriate for young children. Parental discretion is advised.
Riddle me this, Batman.
I think, it's, well, I think, no, I mean, look, Mike, I thank you.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I feel like I'm ready. Obviously, we got a whole week of preparation to get ready for Monday night. I'm excited. I'm just going to take it day by day and just prepare as hard as I possibly can for every single look and situation we could get on Monday. So I'm just going to be dependent on my teammates a lot, and my job is to get the ball to the playmakers and just be a distributor and just manage the offense.
Because I'm Batman!
This is Beers 100 Proof. Today, Gotham got the hero it deserves, Batman Mitch Trubisky, and maybe the riddle that is John Fox can still go away after the new quarterback begins to rebuild our once great city of football. I am Aldo Gandia, and with me are the stars of this nightclub, Shayne, the smartest man in the room, Marsaw, and draft Dr. Phil Ottochian. Fellas, today was the unveiling of our new quarterback, Mitch Trubisky. He wowed me with his charm, knowledge, humbleness, and leadership traits. What's your take of his debut media appearance as the number one quarterback? Let me begin with Shayne.
I'm ready to kiss some titties. How about you guys? I was listening to the presser when I was driving down the road, and I had to pull over because I was getting so excited. I'm like, oh, is it Monday yet? Just so fired up, and we talked about this a little bit last night on Bears Hour Live. That it's a new exactly. I think I still have one now that I look down, but yeah, it's a new day, a new direction, and this newfound enthusiasm is definitely a boost to the old football ego. Absolutely, because I was, had it up to my neck, no pun intended, with Mike Lennon. And I was kind of happy to see him ushered to the side, and now we begin this Trubisky now, this new era in Chicago, and I think we should all be excited.
Phil, I have pulled, I think it's 7 or 8 clips from the Trubisky press conference today, and I want to analyze all of those clips. But before we begin that exercise on the Barroom Show here tonight, I want your overall feelings about his performance in front of the media today. And then we'll start dissecting things, and then we'll also talk about John Fox's future. What happens if he gets on a roll? The Bears get on a roll because of Trubisky. Is that going to save John Fox's job? I want to talk a little bit about the Packer game. You asked me to pull that Deion Sanders clip, and I really want to share that. That was a great call on your part. And then, of course, we've got our regular features that we got to get to. So we got a lot on the board, but first let's begin with your thoughts on Mitch's press conference.
I think I'm going to echo Shayne. The level of excitement, is off the charts because, like I was telling you guys off air here, it's like the young kid coming to the stage, and he just doesn't even realize how good or how big it is because he's a football player. And I haven't seen that at this position, and watching this presser, I'm taking you into my head now, Aldo and Shayne and the following of the Bears Barroom herd. I just saw a kid that loves the game of football and can't wait to show you that this love affair is why he's here. And I have not seen that at the quarterback position in all of my time watching the Chicago Bears. Maybe Jimmy McMahon and Jim Harbaugh had that, but I don't remember it like I saw it today. Young kid with passion, just answering football questions like it's his job, which it is. And I'm so excited about it. I hope you get what I'm saying here. It's just he isn't afraid of the moment. And that's what I saw. The class, the integrity. They tried to throw him that screwball like Shayne was talking about off the air to try to get him to badmouth Glennon, and he just wasn't going to bite on it. And then to be able to drop the mic at the end with his very slick comment, I mean, he hit it out of the ballpark. It just makes Monday just seem so far away, because I can't wait to see what I believe is not only going to be obviously better at that position, but the whole team's energy level at home with the chapter and verse turned to the new face of your franchise, Aldo. This kid hit it out of the park today.
He really, really did. So let's, I'm almost tempted to go out of order on some of these sound bites, but let's go in order. This was the very first question that he handled, maybe in the second one, about how he was told that he would become the starter. This was his response.
It was a quick conversation. Coach Fox did most of the talking, per usual. So he just called me, and I was like, yes, sir, sounds good. I'll be ready to go. Big week of preparation. And like I said, he just did a lot of the talking, and, we just talked. It was cool, and so just got to get ready.
Phil, you tweeted out that Mitch is already taking a shot at the coach, and
it's right. Exactly what I'm saying is right there for you. This kid just got off playing Madden, studied his playbook for 6 hours. It's not bigger than, coach was telling me, you're going to be the starter now. You are going to be QB1, and we're going on national television to play the Minnesota Vikings. And he's like, coach talking to me. Coach, I'm fucking ready. I mean, what do you think? I'm watching this pathetic shit out in front of me. I knew I was ready in the preseason. I'm ready. And that isn't bigger than him. And if you can't, I've been around players my whole life. I'm telling you, that is innocence at its finest. I cannot wait to see this kid compete, because he's a competitor, and the Mitchell Trubisky fan bus, excluding some of these fucking analyst critics with a narrative ready written, because they're betting on that 50%. That 50% chance that's going to be too big for him, but they're going to be the ones looking in, outside looking in. Aldo, not even afraid to make fun of the head coach in a press conference. I mean, that was tremendous.
You know, the other thing about that soundbite that it actually concerned me a little bit. I know all three of us have been in leadership positions on the football and or off the football field. You know, whether it's business, football field, or what have you. You know, Fox, this isn't the first time we've heard that he likes to talk a lot, you know, and that first meeting when they met Trubisky, Trubisky described that meeting as Fox doing all the talking, and that Dow Loggins had to tell him to shut up, or Ryan Pace maybe shut up. Shayne, does that bother you a little bit, that you've got the head coach of the team who isn't probing, isn't asking questions, isn't engaging the quarterback, and the quarterback in front of all of the national media, because this was covered nationally, you know, gives a kick in the balls to the head coach?
Seeing John Fox the amount that we see him, it's Mitch it perfectly. You can I just picture Mitch sitting there with this great huge steak on his plate, staring at this old guy across from him, and saying, like, this dude's never going to shut the fuck up. They're coming here to essentially interview me. This is the biggest interview of my life, and this 60-something, you know, guy with a pack of Newports is just talking and talking and talking. But I guess at the end of the day, you leave that end of it up to Ryan Pace and his crew that are actually going to be making the selection. But it does. I think it actually does bring up a legitimate point. I would have loved to heard that phone call, you know, when Fox picked up the phone to call Mitch and tell him that he's being promoted. I would love to hear the semantics of that entire call, just to see how Fox handled it. And I would love to see what Mitch Trubisky did as soon as he hung the phone up. You know,
Oh, you already could see. He probably, you know how the kid jumped, hit the wall as high.
Shayne, you're breaking up a little.
Shayne's breaking up.
What took you so long? This should have had,
Is Shayne breaking up?
The fuck up!
You kept breaking up.
What's going on?
You're like one of the Kardashians.
One of the things Trubisky talked about, and again, this shows his humbleness and what a great teammate he is. He talked about how Mike Glennon and Mark Sanchez have helped him get to this point in his professional career.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about Mike throughout this whole process. Really from day one, he's taken me in, accepted me, and made me a part of the quarterback room, him and Mark both. And I've learned so much from him and just continually how he carries himself even throughout this situation as a professional and as a person. It just really says a lot about him and his character and what he means to this football team. And I wouldn't be where I'm at in my development without Mike or Mark. So I owe a lot to that quarterback room, and hopefully this just brings us even tighter.
Phil, he's responding to the question, what did Mike Glennon say to you? And he's going out of his way to not only compliment Mike's team approach to this whole thing, and he also brings Sanchez into it. I'm just floored by his coolness and his smartness.
Yeah, he was being professional. I mean, obviously that's thrown down the middle to try to see if he's going to hit that one out of the park and try to be competitive, but he was professional. Whether he was coached to say that or, I mean, it's just common courtesy that you're going to be taking the baton from a guy that him and his family have to be absolutely embarrassed. I mean, to be in that locker room, to know that he had the whole offseason talk about Mike Glennon all through preseason, all the preseason games. It's not, and Shayne really talked about this all the way through, giving him the rope to essentially hang himself. And that's what happened based on the situation that the plan. Now here's this kid, a young kid, where it's not bigger than him, but he's recognizing the common courtesy of another man's feelings are at stake. Your play is going to speak for itself, and the memory of Mike Glennon will be on the 2017 highlight show as a transition to the new dawn and the new day of Mitchell Trubisky. And I thought he handled that question as cool as a cucumber.
And I got to tell you, when I contacted Mike Glennon today, I really felt sorry for how he's dealing with this whole situation. Hey, Mike, it's Aldo. I just called to find out how you doing, man. But Mike, it'll be okay. You'll be the second stringer. Mike, calm down, Mike. I just had to hang up on him. I couldn't take it. No,
give us everything you had.
No, we kid you, Mike Glennon. We kid you because we love the fact that you're no longer starting.
Right. Thank you for sucking so bad so we can get a real quarterback in there. That's the most important part of this.
That's right. So we can begin the future now. Shayne, what do you got to say about how Trubisky was so effusive in his praise of the sportsmanship of both the backup quarterbacks now?
Yeah, I think Phil put it the best way you can. Just it's like a common courtesy thing. You know, we saw Jay Cutler do a little bit of that when he said, Dowell Loggins is definitely going to be a head coach in the NFL. It's the same type of thing. He's smart enough to know his place in the pecking order, and he's smart enough to know that I'm sure Mike Glennon did help him behind the scenes, and like I just said, he helped him on the field by playing so terrible. We got him in there a little bit quicker, but it's part of that pecking order, and he's gonna thank who he needs to thank on the way up, and And this is, you know, Mitch is the captain now. Put that drop in there. You know, I'm the captain now. And I love to see that picture today from practice with Mitch lined up as QB1 and Mike Glennon standing behind him. You'd love to know the thoughts that were going through his head. And listening to, or I didn't listen to it, but I read some of the comments from Mike Glennon after, you know, when they were, I think Adam Hogue put him out there, and it kind of says a lot where his head is. Kind of, I don't want to say that he was pawning everything off on real world problems, but it's, you know, this isn't this isn't the real world. This is the NFL, and I don't know. I think
Thank you.
Kind of use that as a bit of a cop out. So it kind of tells you where Mitch's head is, and it tells you where Mike Glennon's head is, and he's we've seen him more than once make some excuses by, you know, saying that maybe he on that one pass to Josh Bellamy, he kind of threw Bellamy under the bus, and the snap from Cody Whitehair when Olin Kreutz said that it was clearly on Mike Glennon because he lifted his leg, and that alerts Whitehair to snap the ball, and he didn't take ownership. He said, well, that's just something that we have to work on, but we'll see how Mitch is in those type of situations coming up on Monday. But I couldn't be any more excited, and I just love the direction that this is going. It's finally starting, and we should all be happy.
I sent you guys a screenshot earlier today of Hogue's good perspective from Mike Glennon. I said, not my quarterback. And the reason why is exactly what Shayne said. When we're talking about outside world problems, and you're talking about your job as a professional athlete that you just failed at, using that as perspective, that is the biggest cop-out. It's just really, that shows the level of a competitor to me. And it really didn't sit well with me to see him pawn that off, almost to say, don't pick on me. There's bigger problems in the world.
Right.
My disappointing play that was so bad that I don't know how anybody in the Twitter sphere or universe can absolutely support Mike Glennon moving forward. Pete Schwags, Miller, Evans, and whoever else you want to throw in there. It was that bad. So for him to use the problems of Puerto Rico and Houston and the shooting, to me, was just pathetic.
This is exactly Glennon's quote. Obviously not what I wanted, not what I had hoped for, not what I had envisioned, but you look around the country, the world, and you see what's going on, and that kind of brings perspective back into things. And I think I always try to like to have perspective on just the grand scheme of life, even in disappointing times. Now, I always play this game in my head a little bit where I rewrite what people say. And frankly, if I would have given Glennon a script, it would have read something like this. I fucked up. I suck. I really can't play this game of professional football like I had dreamed and envisioned. I'm disappointed by it, but I'm so happy that I'll be able to help Mitch Trubisky be the great quarterback that he's going to be. And Bears fans can count on me to do anything. I'll get on all fours to help this quarterback be the very best. That's the script I would have given him. Yeah, I don't know about you guys.
He's got 18 million reasons to smile.
Yeah, really.
No one should be feeling bad for Mike Glennon.
All right, so our boy Trubisky was asked about how far he's come this season, and whether he's ready to take the opening, the starting reins.
I've come a long way, just based on the different defenses we see. See a lot more odd front than I did in college, and that's something I had to learn a lot about. It's come a long way from learning protections and knowing when you're hot and when you need to change protection, and when the defense is rotation or false rotation and things of that matter. So I've learned a lot, and my quarterback coach, Coach Ragone, and Coach Dowell Loggins have helped me a lot, and Mike and Mark, again, have just been in my ear all the time, sitting down with me and able to teach me those things. So there's still a lot more to learn, but I've come a long way.
He's laying it all out for you, and he's passing the credit to where he's going, and that's straightforward to the top. now you have to go out there and just be the football player that you know you are. And I think he really is handling this press conference, weeding through the weeds that they're trying to poke. I think that he's handling it exactly how you want your starting quarterback to handle it.
All right, and this is how he characterized the first practice today on Tuesday.
It was good. We know based on last week, we need to go back to work. So we got a lot to prove, and we got a lot we need to improve at. So we just came out there, went to work. There was a good sense of urgency, and we just had a good mindset to go out there and execute every play, really get back to the basics, focus on us, and get better as a football team.
Shayne, this talks to what we talked about yesterday on Bears Hour Live, that his injection into the starting lineup is also a huge boost of adrenaline for his teammates, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you actually saw Josh Bellamy not drop the ball today on his comment.
It was good.
He said,
he said
we
last week,
we can't wait. We can't wait to see him out there. And I think that, at the same time, I think it speaks volumes to the entire team, because you play back that Akeem Hicks soundbite after the Green Bay game, and as soon as he said that, I said, "Oh, this is." This 4-game debut for Glennon is over. And I mean, you could hear that loud and clear. We need to make the changes that we need to make. And then he said that's on offense, and then he threw in there and on defense too. And it gives them legitimacy at the most important position on the field. I mean, the Bears invested big time in Trubisky, in financially and in terms of draft compensation, and he's the epicenter of this entire franchise moving forward, and almost every move that you make moving forward should be almost made with Trubisky in mind. And it's gonna, like I said, this isn't just about the fans, Aldo. Like you said, this includes the players, and this team is a young team overall, and you give some young players that are hungry, you give them some more enthusiasm. It just takes. He goes out there and he I don't want to say he's going to light up Minnesota, but if he goes out there and shows that he belongs, we don't know where this can take us. I mean, it's gonna totally make this entire franchise do a 180 just with this tidal wave that one single substitution can make, and I don't think we can discount that.
The comments from Zach Miller after practice today really spoke volumes. Zach told the Chicago Sun-Times, I'm sure the rest of the media was there, everybody feels for Mike Glennon, but when you get change at that position, there's going to be a new excitement around it. And that he wasn't the only player who talked about the positive vibe that was in the clubhouse. A couple of players downplayed it, like Josh Bellamy, because he knows he's going to drop a pass no matter who it comes from. So he doesn't really give a shit. One of my favorite sound bites, and I know it was yours too, Phil. Let me play it. It's about pressure that Trubisky might be feeling. This is how he responded to it.
My quarterback coach from high school, Coach Janiak, he actually told me one time, pressure is it only appears when you're not prepared for something. So that's kind of how I feel pressure. You only get nervous or feel pressure when you're not prepared for the situation or you don't know what you're doing. So my job is just study the game plan, and once I get in there, just go back to my instincts, play the game I know how to play. And I've been playing this game for a long time, so I'm going to go in there, be myself, and the pressure shouldn't be anything but what everyone else makes it out to be, because I just go out there and try to have fun.
Did you always have that, or was there something you had to go through in your life to teach you how?
I would say a little bit of both. I think a lot of people have it, and then a lot of people can just develop it, and that's something I've had. Probably just credit to my parents and a lot of the great coaches I've had throughout my life.
Phil, talk to that whole point about pressure and how that can destroy even the greatest talents at football and any other sport. I mean, I've seen great golfers miss a 5-foot putt or 3-foot putt. I've seen great basketball shooters miss easy layups under pressure and so forth. Talk about pressure and talk about how Trubisky responded to that question.
Pressure. I can hear it in there. Dun, 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 dun. Keyboard riff. I love that. Listen, I'm going to say this again. When I hear this kid speak, I know who he is. And that is somebody who's a competitor. He's telling you, I've been playing this for years. This is what I love. I love this freaking game of football. Do you realize what that is? No, because you had Cutler here. You had, before him, the clown posse. You had guys that caved to pressure. This kid is speaking my language. He's talking about getting out there and having his fun. And that's what really it should be. It's the essence of that game. It's a pleasure. It's a privilege to be getting paid to play a game that you love. But when you really love it, then you reek with confidence. It isn't arrogance. I hear him recognizing the harder I get hit or the tougher the challenge is, that is where I want to be. I want to be the best. And really, ultimately, I love this kid's attitude. He's feeling the pressure, and he's willing to step into it. We saw a quarterback that was feeling the pressure, and he caved to it. Now he's going to go out there and do like David Bowie and freaking bury it. And that's how I want my quarterback. And I really enjoyed his commentary, and that's a great high school coach to recognize there's going to be hills. There's going to be pressure, but you're only going to make it worse if you are afraid of it. That's when you should be at your best. You saw it in Deshaun Watson, and you really saw that on the tape with Trubisky. Yeah.
I thought you were going to start rapping there.
Go, Mitch.
There you go.
The new T formation is in Chicago, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Jordan Howard. That T, one of those T's for Tariq Cohen. And then the capital T. Tee it up there, Shayne. Mitchell Trubisky, baby.
We're going off the rails here. All right, let me play a soundbite for Shayne to comment on. This was about what was this one about?
Kind of a gunslinger mentality.
There you go.
Just be methodical, stay within the offense, be consistent, do my job, and then when things break down, able to make plays and. Again, get the ball to my playmakers because I'm not the best athlete on the field. There's other guys that do that. But when things break down, I can make something happen.
Shayne, some idiots on Twitter immediately started criticizing that soundbite because he called himself a gunslinger, and they made the comparisons to Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
So, Shayne, what do you got to say to those people?
As soon as I heard him say that, I got douche chills from the Twitter fallout that was going to follow.
Exactly.
Because I'm like, they're going to say, "Oh, what the fuck, Trubisky? This is, we don't want Jay Cutler." And I had to chuckle too a little bit when he said, "I'm not the best athlete on the field," and I'm thinking to myself, "Motherfucker, you're about 110% more athlete than what you're replacing." So, I said, "That's
he's statuesque."
Yeah, statuesque. Holy shit.
Coach Tomlin.
I wish I had
At least we're just gonna, look back at those 4 games, guys, and we'll maybe look back and watch him trying to roll out in Mike Lennon and just see, we can be able to look back and laugh and hopefully have our franchise quarterback in place with Trubisky and be able to chuckle at this. But it's been a long month of inept quarterback play, unfortunately, and we saw a lot of that pretty much all last season too. So we deserve this Monday Night Football game coming up on a national stage, and hopefully Mitch can show out, and the rest of the team is inspired enough to help him out too, where he may struggle a little bit in some things, and it's just hard to rely on a guy like Bellamy and Deontay Thompson to be two of your big guns that are going to be helping out this kid. But no, I like everything that I've heard from Mitch. He's owning the room. Nothing seems too big for him, and in a big place like Chicago, I think that means a lot. Aldo, I think we look back to when he was on that quarterback camp with John Gruden. I saw that and I was like, oh shit, I got the same. I think you mentioned it. You were kind of scared off by him because everything looked a little bit too big for him back then. He seemed a little bit nervous and he didn't really own the room. But I think now that he knows where he is and he's been accepted into the city and he knows who he's going to be playing for, I think maybe that just settled him down a little bit. And you like to see that. You got to have a quarterback like that that's going to come in and he's going to be able to turn it around and throw it right back into the face of the media, and then call them out on some of their stupidity with some of these crazy questions that they can tend to ask. And you like to see him be able to get up there and joke around too, and have that big smile and maybe not take everything so deadpan as like a guy like Jay Cutler did. And I didn't even like to listen to Mike Glennon talk because I think he's my least favorite Chicago Bear in my 41 years as a Chicago Bears fan. But
whoa, that is breaking news.
Yeah, absolutely. Play the breaking news drop.
Breaking news. We interrupt our programming. Shayne's worst Bear ever.
Yeah, I'm there with him.
Wow.
Yep, absolutely.
Well,
I'm not going to miss him at all.
I got to tell you, Shayne, that the issue with Glennon is that he deteriorated right before our eyes. I mean, I remember you and I talking about his performance on Bears All Access and how good he did in that interview. He was asked tough questions. He sounded like a leader. He sounded like he was ready to take that next step in his career. And then at the first sign of adversity, he didn't have a great camp, as I think Adam John said that John Timo was intercepting him repeatedly. And then he had that awful first preseason game where his quarterback rating was 0.0. Then all of a sudden...
What?
Yeah, thank you. Then all of a sudden, his voice and tone changed. And I think that even he knew that something had happened all that time sitting and getting back into NFL action. It wasn't getting better. It was getting worse.
Who's Mike Glennon?
Yeah, where have we heard that? Where have we heard that before?
Who is Mike Glennon? We found out. Oh, boy, did we.
You saw it, guys. With each interception that he threw, you could see him walking off the sideline, and everything looked too big for the guy. It really did. I mean, you want your quarterback to go out there, and Mitch, he alluded to this today. If you screw up, you don't want to let your teammates see that you're pissed. You want to move on, and you want to, get the guys fired up, and you move on to the next play. And you see Mike Glennon turn the ball over, and he, bowed his head down, and you could see his face turn bright red, and that's definitely not going to inspire the troops. And I know we're not body language experts, and I don't want to open up that door again, but it's the same type of deal, and it reminded me of Jay Cutler versus Philadelphia last year when Pernell McPhee walked up to him and was like, "What the fuck? Let's go! You're the quarterback. You're the guy that's got to get us going." And everything that unfolded from that, and it's clear that Jay Cutler was never the rah guy that was going to go up and down the offensive line and say, we need to play better, do this, do that, and it's Mike Glennon's never going to be that guy. He's just not. Everything looks too big for Mike Glennon. The the city of Chicago looks too big. The bright lights, big city, the big contract that he got. He's just he crumbled under the pressure, and each game he went out there, it got worse, like you said.
And back to the Trubisky comment, Aldo. I just thought it was funny that he's like, yeah, I'm kind of a gunslinger who I play within the system. It's like he caught himself and then basically comes back and says, but I play within the system. No,
absolutely.
Man. We know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
You are going to move out of the pocket. You are going to look beyond the check down.
Yep.
And you are going to try to make big plays for a team that needs big plays. Let
me tell you something. That sounded a lot like, and people are going to say, fuck you, Aldo, for drawing this comparison. But I followed Michael Jordan's career very, very closely. And that sounded like something Jordan would say. He would say, yeah, I'm going to play within the triangle offense and so forth. But then he would kind of sneak in a line saying, yeah, but when I got to fucking do what I got to do, I'm going to do it, you know? And there's this old saying.
Yeah, his biggest quote was, you remember that big quote, there's no I in team. And Michael Jordan said, that there is in win.
Yep. And Trubisky sounded a little like that today. All right, I got another one here, Phil, that you're going to love because Trubisky talks about your man, Deshaun Watson, and how well he's playing, and obviously the reporters wanted him to draw a comparison.
It doesn't put pressure on me. I mean, everyone has a different game, and everyone has a different situation. That didn't surprise me at all because I know what kind of player in person Deshaun is. The big stage isn't going to face him or myself. And so we're just...
Or myself.
Yeah, we're in this new era where young quarterbacks are expected to come in and produce right away like veterans have. So... it's a little bit different, but I just think the type of people and players there are coming out, they're able to handle it. So that doesn't surprise me. He's having the success he has because I know what kind of guy he is, and he's a great player.
Phil, it's all yours.
Dude, I mean, you coded right into the groove there. The whole groove is like myself. He knows. I mean, this kid is not afraid. Now, there's class. I mean, all right, guys. This reminds me of myself as a player. I would not back down from the biggest guy. This isn't about me, I know, but I just know this personality he's classy, he's a competitor, but he is never going to front on who he is and how he's going to play too. And he's giving credit to Deshaun and recognizing, like, when people ever do this, okay, if you're out there as a fan, let me teach you something in the bar room. If you're in the bar next to me and you're like, well, last week the Bears played the Packers, and then, you know, this week the Minnesota Vikings are playing the Packers, and this guy performed better, so he's a better player. No, that's not how the game of football works. You don't measure opponent by performance. You measure performance. That's it. The performance is it. It's not. You're never going to see the same game, is what he's trying to say. He's playing great. They have their system. They have their talent surrounding him, and thus he's going to be, you know, perform up to what he believes in. And he tipped his hat to the guy and said on the big stage, he's going to do it, like me. That's the key line. Just like you're talking about Jordan, this kid believes in himself. He loves this game, and he's getting ready to get out there to be a competitor. Really not. I think he's very excited to show the world, those critics, and everybody who believes in him, who Mitch Trubisky is. And that, in that commentary, while tipping the hat to Deshaun Watson, to me, is the ultimate professional quarterback.
You know why I also like this guy is because he likes to kiss titties.
Absolutely.
How could you not?
You know what's funny, guys? Just you think back in 2014 when Mitch Trubisky was in North Carolina and he's he's looking around and he's thinking to himself, I'm going to be the man here. This is, I'm going to be the BMOC, the big man on campus here at UNC. And do you think he ever thought that his 14th start from that point was going to be on Monday Night Football for the Chicago Bears versus the Minnesota Vikings? You think about that. You think about where this kid has come from. It's pretty surreal to think about it that way.
It really is.
It's crazy.
All right, I got one more soundbite here from today's press conference, and it comes at a special request. Phil asked that we play this, and I'm glad that he did because it was funny and, again, tells you a lot about the character of Mitch Trubisky. He's being asked a question by a reporter about how he feels, and well, the question's in here, so here it is.
Physically, you feeling great, young, fresh, nothing hurts, ready to go.
Yep, haven't gotten hit. Feel good.
He just takes command of the room, man. He takes command of the room. It's pretty impressive. Yep. Pretty impressive.
Drop the mic, Mitch.
There you go.
And don't drop the snap.
All right. Before we get to a couple of our features, and then I want to talk about Fox's future with the team, want to hear your guys' feelings about the Danny Trevathan suspension, which was 2 games and was knocked down to 1 game. Shayne, what are your thoughts on that?
I think we kind of all expected. I answered one of the questions last night on Bears Hour Live that we kind of all expected it to get reduced, and Derek Brooks and James Thrash, looks like they definitely agreed with us because he did get it reduced, but. At the same time, I think a lot of this, guys, and I know in the moment everybody was fired up. I was like, when I watched it initially, I turned and I was like, oh no, that was bad. But then you roll it back in slow motion. I chalk a lot of this up to the pussification of America. I mean, there was. I know AJ on Twitter that follows all of us. He's like, he's got to be gone for at least 6 games. I mean, there was people out there that said he needed to be sat down for the rest of the season and fined. And it's just, this is NFL football. I mean, I know Clinton Dix was making comments on it tonight that he was, hit illegally by Josh Bellamy, and we just see a lot of these hits, and a lot of it gets overblown. It's tackle football, and I don't know. I mean, when you have a 230-pound guy that's running a 4.5 directly at somebody, sometimes bad things are going to happen, especially when the other person is moving, and that's really what made it look so bad with Devontae Adams. And they were talking today that if he actually got suspended, he was going to be the first player in the history of the NFL that got suspended for hitting a runner. So I don't know if that's exactly true or not, but it's just one of those things. It happens. I'm glad that they reduced it, but probably at the end of the day, he shouldn't even have gotten suspended. If they want to put a fine out there, that's one thing, but it really is what it is at this point. With us being so thin inside linebacker, that's just one more hurdle that Trubisky and the Chicago Bears are going to have to get over on Monday night versus Minnesota. But at least it did get reduced by 1 game.
Phil, your thoughts?
Yeah, just echoing Shayne. I talked about it last night. I felt like watching the play, you see the ineligible Packers downfield, no flag. That was the easy call. So maybe the flag on the ground would have stopped forward motion because they would have known that it was a dead play. Who knows? It wasn't officiated well because there was no flag until Aaron Rodgers begged for one. And then when you look at the play, and we talked about the scrums that transpired, there's one Bear with 2 Packers. The one he's tackling, and there's an offensive lineman pushing Amos. Then he's coming in, Danny Trevathan, to put this guy on the ground before a scrum it's going, and they start doing the Lambeau leap and dun 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 dun, and doing all this that in a blowout, he's going to take him down. He lowers his head to that's where your head goes naturally. He was targeting where the guy was standing. Amos then scurries him because of the Packers' offensive lineman coming in and pushing. And he turns right into it. As Shayne said, this is the NFL. The fact that he was suspended befuddles me. It's so Bears. It's so getting the cheap end of the stick. You saw it in the Steeler game with the guy stepping out of bounds, the fumble by Jordan Howard with the knee on the ground. The Bears have not been the recipients of a good call since I can remember, since the Calvin Johnson rule. But apparently that was a rule. So this one really bothers me because, as Shayne said, now you're going to lose your best inside backer right now. And against a formidable opponent like the Vikings, you want to be at your best. I'm sure Minnesota wants us at our best. I always hated when guys got suspended or they were injured because I want to win without the excuse, and I want to compete without any excuses being made. So this, to me, was ridiculous. It should have been a fine. Totally wasn't past performance of this guy. He's not a dirty football player, so I felt like the Bears once again got screwed over.
I will disagree with both of you guys. I do think that the suspension was warranted, given what we've learned about CTE and helmet-to-helmet hits. I think the only way to retrain players, the only way to retrain players to wrap up ball carriers more and use the helmet less is by punishing them. I don't know any other way around it. The fact of the matter is that helmet-to-helmet hit was probably the equivalent of a kiloton of a TNT blast. I mean, that was a pretty vicious hit. And while I would prefer that the player that I root for and the player that the Bears need in order to win on Monday night wouldn't be suspended, I also have to look at this from 30,000 feet and say, if there is a there is a problem in the league with brain injuries, then you've got to take some approach towards reducing that. And the players like Danny Trevathan, who are really hard tacklers, a lot of those hard tackles are the result of going in helmet first. And we've got to retrain these players, and there's only one way to do it: punish them. I don't know any other way.
Let me ask you this, Aldo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're talking about that Devontae Adams is actually going to play this weekend. Should that factor in at all? The result of the hit?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I think, the fact that the guy laid there motionless is a terrible sign that the NFL is trying to avoid, because what's happening to the league is there's going to be a deterioration of talent in the coming years because parents are going to stop their athletic children from playing football, because once they see that hit and a guy laying motionless and possibly paralyzed, and now we're all glad he's fine, hopefully he plays and there's nothing wrong, but that look for the NFL is just really bad PR. And I knew for a fact that there was no way the NFL was going to let Danny Trevathan play on a Monday night nationally televised game after that hit. No, it just, from a PR standpoint, just doesn't make any sense. I don't like it any more than you guys do. I love the game of football. I love the violence. But unfortunately, some of that violence is coming with some really terrible ramifications for the long-term health of these players, and I guess something has to be done.
Fuck off! Oh, it's that time of the night and in the show where you go over to your wife and you kiss her goodnight, and you turn over and you put on the Bears Barroom and you hear the mailman, Shayne Marsaw, the smartest man in the bar rooms, tweets of the week.
You're getting better and better, Phil.
Yeah.
I could be the new T formation too.
It sounded like you were gonna get like really ultra sexy there. I was looking for a sound effect of like a zipper.
No, we could deal without that. I might get suspended for the way I hit him if he's gonna be talking to me like that. Yes, the smartest man in the room's dumbest tweets of the week. We're gonna get things kicked off here with @Barrett Sally. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this moron that is doubling and tripling down over the last few months. He tweeted out after Deshaun Watson's big game the other night, the Bears really picked Mitchell Trubisky over Deshaun Watson. Really, they actually did that. And he sent out the same tweet on draft day. He did it again this summer, and he sent it out again. And it's just, this is the kind of stupidity that I hate on Twitter. You know, he's got that little blue check mark next to his name that gives him a verified account, but he thinks it makes him a badass, so he tweets out stupid shit like that. And I know Phil was higher on Deshaun Watson than Mitch Trubisky, and you know, I don't think any of us had Mitch Trubisky as our QB1 in the draft. But to write this kid off, I mean, Sally even made a comment that Deshaun Watson's going to win, you know, 3 or 4 Super Bowls in Houston, and the 7th round draft pick in Denver, Chad Kelly is going to be a better quarterback than Mitch Trubisky. It just, that type of shit drives me crazy. He's a college guy, and he is noted to say a lot of stupid shit about the NFL game, and has been proven wrong time and time again. But it reminded me a lot of Heath Evans doubling down on his bullshit with Mitch Trubisky, and it really seems, for some reason, that there's this campaign out there to bring down this kid. I don't know if it's because it's the Chicago Bears, or if it's against quarterbacks of the Chicago Bears. But I saw that, and that was an easy pick for me to pick for my one of my dumbest tweets of the week.
Wow.
Wait a minute. Don't step on this one. This is a new one. Hold on.
Fuck off.
I like that one. So you got anything to say about this asshole?
Sounded like my ex-girlfriend.
Bruce. Phil, you got anything to say about that tweet? Because I'm glad that Shayne picked that one, because I hear a lot of that shit too, and it aggravates the hell out of me.
Yeah, Barrett Sally. I think he's CBS Sports college football guy. I know he's on ESPN, the U, I believe, the radio station. Like when they're running around all the college games, he's on the radio talking about them. The guy is exactly what Shayne said, a major a-hole. He's just trolling for response. The games haven't even been played by Trubisky, and we're defining Super Bowls and what have. What would you call it? Claptrap trolling. However you're going to talk about it is just to get attention. Hey, look at me. And there's a lot of those guys out there, but this guy doubling down on it, because he did do it after the draft when Pace traded up. And clearly, he doesn't understand the professional game and the fact that the games haven't even been played yet.
What a douchebag.
Yes, once again, you get into it, you drive it, and you pick up the mail. And once you open it up, you recognize that Shayne has caught you. He sees your tweets, and once again, he's going to talk about his number 1 dumbest tweet of the week.
Yes, my number 2, we're going to go with a little twist here, something that we haven't seen at the bar room quite yet with the dumbest tweets of the week. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this gentleman. His name is also Barrett Sally. We have a two-time winner here. He had the first bad tweet of the week, and he immediately followed it up with another one that was even worse.
Guys, double downing on the bad tweets.
Absolutely, yeah. He wants
Barrett's
to go down.
Bad tweets.
I tell you, he was getting a lot of flack from Bears fans and Trubisky fans, and they were wanting to know how he can make that judgment already on Mitch Trubisky and how he's going to work out in Chicago. And he said, I'm not basing this off of his sample sizes in the NFL. I said that on draft night this was a dumb decision. That's because it was. Well, my head hurts just reading that, because you're talking about Mitch Trubisky's sample size in the NFL. Well, he's making his first career start, Barrett, you fucking dope, on Monday Night Football. So it's just, he's got an axe to grind with this kid, and like I said, we see this far too often, and there's a lot of guys in Chicago media that do the same thing. They want to nitpick on these little things, and I think a lot of them do it just to fire up the masses, and we're all yeah, exactly. We're all rabid fans out there, so we know we're going to get fired up also, and it bothers us. But it's just, I don't know. It seems like he's throwing a blanket over this kid already, and he's got his career all mapped out for him at this point. And, he's got Deshaun Watson winning multiple Super Bowls, and Mitch Trubisky, taking a back seat to a 7th-round draft pick that, let's be honest, yes, Chad Kelly does have a lot of attributes, but he's got just as many issues as attributes at this time. And to say that he's going to be a better quarterback, you're taking a shot in the dark to be a wise ass with your blue check out there. So I'm going to make Barrett Sally my first two-time winner in 1 week of the dumbest tweets of the week by the same person. So fuck you, Mr. Barrett Sally.
Yeah.
Hey, boss. Deplane. Welcome to Fantasy Island, where Barrett Sally can predict the future.
Who needs sound effects? So you
Wow.
got Phil Ottochian on hand. He's a walking soundboard.
What is he talking about?
Yeah, that's pretty fucking strange. All right, let's move on here.
Oh, yeah. Shayne has got his wife back in town, and he's excited.
That was like 2 months ago. she can go back now at this point.
She's been a long 2 months of baby batter.
Yeah, I'm running low. I might have to go get Lauren Cox. She's still young. She's just starting to walk with a full-time limp.
It's that point in the show. Oh my god. Bring the music back. It's that point in the show where Shayne turns it all around, turn that frown upside down, and gives you his best tweet of the week.
Absolutely, and this kind of ties right into your eloquent introduction there, Mr. Ottochian. It's from @PFT commenter, and I've never been a big fan of pro football talk going back a lot of years, Phil. I'm sure you remember our days at the CB fans message board when we used to play some tricks on the old Pro Football Talk website with Nick Saban possibly coming to the Chicago Bears. I'm not sure if you remember that whole setup, but @PFT commenter talked about, we know how in October it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month throughout the NFL, and we see the every team in the NFL, the players wear their pink wristbands and pink cleats to promote breast cancer awareness. And he said that he thought it was a classy move by the NFL and the Chicago Bears to promote the perfect spokesperson and start Breast Cancer Awareness Month off with a bang by the Chicago Bears naming Mitchell Trubisky, who loves to kiss titties, as the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears. So I thought that was a pretty clever way for them to put that out there, and it made me chuckle a little bit. So we're going to go with @PFT commenter is going to get my favorite tweet of the week.
Go ahead, Phil.
There's nothing like kissing titties on a Monday night.
I got a boner.
Aldo's getting that heart count up over there. Listen to him.
Now, some of you over across the pond or in other countries are just picking up on Mitchell Trubisky and his backstory here. He sent out a tweet back in the day about his love for kissing titties when he was in college, as college young men looking in the mirror. If you are going to be critical of that tweet,
yeah, he wasn't even in college. This was in 2011.
High school, what, senior?
Yeah, I mean, I loved titties in high school too. It wasn't just before I got to college. So I
That's all we thought about.
Absolutely. Yep.
So that's the backstory, Aldo. I just wanted to clear that up. Go ahead now.
No, I'm glad you did, because anybody that has a problem with a human being kissing titties really should see a doctor or something, because it's all part of human nature, and just decide.
Absolutely.
Just decide the effects.
Hey, I want to go on record on our show that seems to be expanding here. The only set of titties that I would not kiss, I saw this pig in a Lamar Houston jersey one night out in San Diego. I would have never kissed that. Lauren Cox was the wingman, and he took one for the team, and he got all over that pig that night. But
took it for the team.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll give a little shout out to Mr. Cox for cleaning up that mess for us.
Captain Cox.
Very good, very good. All right, before we move on, there is a little piece of sound that I want to play for everyone, and we didn't have a chance to really talk about that Packer game. Not like it needed much talking to, but if there was one headline that came out of it, was that this was the swan song of Mike Glennon as the Bears quarterback, and maybe even an NFL quarterback. Yet, despite that horrific performance on the football field, we had Deion Sanders, the NFL commentator and one-time so-so football player, say this about Glennon.
But let me tell you something. We're here live.
Yeah.
Mike Glennon is doing his job. He's effective. He's efficient. Maybe a couple, 2 to 3 bad throws in the game. But overall, he's kept his composure. And remember, he's playing without his 2 best receivers.
Phil, you have a lot better blood pressure than I do, so you handled that soundbite.
Deion's just lucky that wasn't a tweet.
Yeah, really.
He would have been the fucking winner.
Deion is like trying to be a pimp, pimping out the ugliest prostitute you ever had seen. She looking good. Look at her. Come on. I mean, what are we talking about here? His best 2 receivers, Cam Meredith, yes. Kevin White, he's as unknown as Mike Glennon. So that kind of stuff just doesn't fly. And we've talked about countless times these guys have gotten open. If you didn't hear BHL, Shayne broke it down. I broke it down. You've seen it all over Twitter. That narrative that whoever was trying to run that in the PR department didn't work. One more question, guys. So that's not going to work for us. The Deion Sanders is probably the most hypocritical analyst I've ever seen, and it just seems like it's all coming out of NFL Network. It's sad, to be perfectly honest, because that transpiring on a Thursday night was devastating to Bears fans all over the world. And someone who's just learning the game, hearing somebody that they look up to or is gotten this far place and he's on my television, he can't be wrong. And there are people out there like that.
Yeah.
So for him to say that is so unprofessional. It's right smack to the face of the Bears fan who he would have torched Jay Cutler. He would have ripped him in the Bears organization if Jay ever performed like that. And that's where the hypocrite and the hypocrisy comes from. I tweeted it out when it happened. I couldn't believe it. I looked over at my wife. I'm like, look at Deion Sanders. Why is everyone trying to build Mike Glennon up? He's tall enough. He sucks. That's it. That was off.
This wasn't just on Deion. Bill Cowher made some equally crazy comments,
true.
and I'm thinking to myself, dude, you don't want to get back in the NFL as a head coach very, very much. If you're out here saying, oh, you got to stick with Glennon, you got to give him a chance. This is game 4, Bill. He had a fucking
gave
chance.
Him a chance, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what happens. Let me tell you what happens is these announcers, Cowher and Sanders and everybody else on that NFL crew, they meet with the head coach. And in that half hour they have with the head coach lays down his propaganda, and you better believe that John Fox said, yeah, he's really been doing good. It's just, we're not getting support from the other guys, but he's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing this. And those guys, even a great coach like Bill Cowher, buys that bullshit. And they go out there and they're basically mirroring what John Fox told them the night before. That aggravates the hell out of me, that these paid professionals, these guys that are Hall of Fame players, aren't looking at things by themselves, aren't amassing their own opinion, and instead they're mirroring what a failing head coach is saying. We've seen that before. John Gruden did it with Mark Trestman when John Gruden went out of his way to throw Jay Cutler under the bus. We've seen it a number of times. Call. So this is what's happening with some of these guys. Now, some of these other guys don't have any excuses because they haven't heard John Fox say that. They're just freaking stupid. And for them, I'm going to play a bunch of fart sounds for them. There you go.
Well, the other thing I wanted to point out, because we did talk about it, I talked about it on BHL, our Bears 100 Proof last week. I can't remember, about Tony Romo doing the show and doing the broadcast, and that would really be exciting because as my father, he called me. He's like, Romo is phenomenal, Phil. Wait till you hear him. He's breaking down what's going on before it goes on. He's doing the checks. He's telling you what they need to do. And you saw honesty from Romo, and I'm like, finally. And I put the audio up on my timeline where he totally called out Dowell Loggins. There's a shot. I'll tweet it out. There's a shot of Dowell sitting next to Trubisky. They're talking about Trubisky, and Tony Romo says, I'm paraphrasing, they got to do something because they got to roll out. They got to do it. Yeah. Mike Glennon's just not a fit for this offense and what they need to do right now. Exactly like that, Aldo. He says it. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you brought that up, Phil, because
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, not to step in, but he said that, and then they went back to the back into the studio, and David Carr started praising Mike Glennon, and he said,
exactly.
I don't know why everybody's so down on Glennon. He's a fit there. They got to give him, you got to give him a chance. And I'm talking about, he got his quarter of a season chance at this point. And I mean, it really was a bad look for NFL Network because you have a guy like Tony Romo that's getting resounding praise from everybody for his honesty and his football acumen. And then you have a guy like Deion Sanders and a guy like David Carr that is totally. I mean, were they not watching the broadcast of the game? Were they not listening to what Tony Romo says? Maybe they were out of the studio or whatever, and they didn't have the feed from Tony Romo, but it went against exactly what Tony Romo was talking about. Like Phil said, it's just it boggles the brain.
I'm sending it over to Aldo as we speak in a DM, so maybe we can get some audio added to this. But as we talked about the fan, Aldo, and that's why we built this show, to be 100 proof the truth show, and tell you I'm listening to national media shows, and I feel like I've gone to the wrong class my first semester at Hofstra, and they're just all speaking Spanish. I'm supposed to be learning Spanish. I don't speak it. This is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in the wrong class because they don't know anything about the Bears, the way they talk. Yep. And it's like they don't absolutely no clue. It's like throwing spaghetti at the wall and see which one of them sticks and put it on your plate, and that's the answer. It's just, it doesn't fit. It's hysterical, and I feel like it's our duty on this show to tell it like it is. The tape first, the analysis second, the opinions thereafter. That's how we roll here, and I just think by your group, the Bears Barroom herd of followers and real passionate fan base that we're building here, we love you guys because we're trying to keep this here to make a change. You saw Aldo Gandia's Trubisky Now go viral. There's no questions. The pressure was built, you listened, and here it comes. And the average fan watching that broadcast is hearing Bill Cowher say something, Dion say something, Tony Romo say the opposite of what they said, then David Carr saying the opposite of what he... And you really are all lost and confused. And that's why this narrative that Heath Evans and Jim Miller and these people going down with the ship of Glennon, it's hysterical that Hub Arkish could say that he doesn't know if there's going to be a change to the offensive's cohesiveness or just performance by putting an athlete in at quarterback as opposed to a statue. That's Chicago media. That's national media. That's why you're listening to this show, because that is a crock of shit. It's terrible, and I don't stand for it, and neither do my partners here.
Well, I got to tell you that one of the things I've learned over the years, and this used to happen to me a lot when I was younger, you know, somebody who had the education or the reputation or the honors and stuff, they talk, and I would be, well, you know, this guy is, you know, an award-winning, you know, politician or sports expert or plumber or whatever. So yeah, if you're saying it, I believe it. Well, that's bullshit. You have to question these guys. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Bill Cowher. Yeah. I don't care who it is. You have to question and listen critically and believe your eyes. Believe your eyes. Listen to all sorts of different opinions and then make your own opinion. And I think that if you do, you will find that the what you're getting here at Bears Barroom is generally correct. Because we discuss it. We debate it. You know, we go back and forth. One of these days, I'm going to copy and paste some of the DMs that Shayne and Phil.
No.
These guys have some riveting debates, man. I'm reading through this and I'm saying, man, this is like a screenplay for a football debate or something like that. It's just really good stuff. So this doesn't go without a lot of energy and analysis and really good thinking behind it. I'm lucky to be associated with two guys who are so passionate about Bears football. Now, Phil, I got that video that you sent me. I'm going to play it here. I don't know what it is, but let's see what it says.
if this gets any deeper in a hole for them, and they're going to have to change a game plan here, who knows? Maybe this is the night where you see Trubisky.
Yeah, I think if they're getting a hole, I really believe they're going to go to him sooner than later. And when I say that, I like Glennon. I just don't know if this style fits in perfectly. They need a guy who can bootleg, move around, and they want to run the football.
Oh, that's good stuff, Phil. That's good stuff. And it speaks to the fact
Sounds
that...
like a guy that works for you, Aldo.
Really? Well, and also that's also a condemnation, I think, of Dow Loggins, who developed this offense for Trubisky, and a condemnation of Ryan Pace, because if you're going to draft a quarterback with those traits and then you're going to have one offense, shouldn't your bridge quarterback be able to do some of the things that you're asking your future franchise quarterback to do?
Aldo, that right there, you were just I just got goosebumps on my arm because Aldo was just speaking about, I was a young kid and I believed everyone, but now you got to ask questions and believe in your own eyes. And then Aldo says exactly to a T what this coach said to me today. He's like, the only reason why I feel bad for Glennon is that his offensive coordinator didn't develop a system to fit his skill set as opposed to the other professional quarterback skill set. And you're 100% right, Aldo. And it's unfortunately, clearly, Pace, Loggins didn't fit when it came to Glennon, because you're right. You're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, and it just didn't fit.
It is. I do agree with what you said there, Phil, about Aldo, about you with Ryan Pace kind of being on the hook, because you're talking about chocolate and vanilla and black and white, total difference going from Mike Glennon to a Mitchell Trubisky, just in terms of what each one of them would bring to this Dow Loggins offense. And it is a fantastic point, because it's a completely, it's totally different in every way that you put it. And it's just, you're talking about an extremely mobile quarterback versus a quarterback that's, statuesque, as we like to say. And
drop that Tomlin.
You're talking about Mitch Trubisky that's, praised for his accuracy. And then you're talking about Mike Glennon, who, at points couldn't hit a bull in the ass with a banjo, really. So, I mean, everything is completely different, but it's I didn't really think about it that way, Aldo, so I got to throw some props your way, because that really is a great way to put it.
All right, fellas, it is time, and I got a new intro music here, and I'm going to take my shot at rapping, because Phil has inspired me to write rap music.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the only reason I'm doing this is not because I know you guys are going to say, hey, that was pretty good. It's because I know I'm going to get you guys to laugh when you hear this.
Keep your panties on, ladies.
Topless.
I'm no rapper, just a producer, but I gotta introduce her. Bear up, bear down. Who gets the crown? Who we call a clown. But it ain't my decision, I just provide the sounds. All right, fellas.
I love it.
God had to take Tom Petty and not Aldo. God, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm playing with fire.
See Sandy Tom. See Sandy Tom across the pond there, Lottie. He can really rap.
Yeah, Sandy, thanks for the nice comments about music. I think I just ruined it, though. All right. Let's see. I think Phil chose first on Bear Down last week, so I think Shayne.
Yes, I did.
You be the man.
Yes, absolutely. I will go, and I'm going to fire off, and I'm going to go with the flow with what I did on my dumbest tweets of the week. I'm going to double up, and I'm going to throw some love to Kyle Long again. I think, I'm excited to see him stack these games together. It's hasn't been perfect, but you see really how important this guy is to this entire team. And I know not much went right in Green Bay, but it's been so long since we've got to see some of this consistent play with Kyle, and you just when you go back and you watch the tape, you just see how special of a talent this kid is. I mean, he's making blocks, and he's peeling off, and he's making more blocks downfield, and it's really a testament to him. And I mean, I'm sure he's nowhere near 100% at this point, and it's just he's got that warrior mentality like we saw come out with Jordan Howard. And I think we string more and more of these games together where he's able to stay out there. I think this 10-day break is going to do a guy like Kyle Long a lot of good, and he is going to be somebody to really watch out for on this offensive line. When you're talking about having a mobile quarterback back there that's going to be on these rollouts, you get an offensive guard that is also mobile, and really a guy that's not going to take any shit from anybody. He's going to be a key figure, as he should be each and every week. And so I want to throw some more love to Kyle Long for the second week in a row as my bear up.
I love that choice. And I got to tell you, I am so happy they're keeping him at right guard. There's just been too much turmoil. And while, I at the beginning of the season, I said, it's time to move him over to left tackle. Well, the fact of the matter is they've signed Charles Leno to a long-term contract. He's going to be the left tackle whether we like it or not. Moving him to left guard is really shouldn't be an option now. Let's keep it at right guard. Long said to the media the other day, "I'm a right guard." So clearly that's where his passion is. Let's keep him happy. Let's help him become the team leader that he's always shown signs of. And I love that choice by Shayne. Let's roll with Long and make him happy and give him nothing but the best resources so that he can become the best offensive right guard in football. Phil, are you ready with your bear up, or are you going to go bear down?
I was going to follow suit here. I thought he was going bear down.
Me too.
He is the smartest man in the room, so he's switched it up and went bear up. So now I got to talk about my bear up of the week, and I think I'm going to shock the world with my bear up this week. Yeah. That bear up music.
It's going to be Jay Cutler, isn't it?
No. I got to go right off the rip and say my bear up this week is Danny Trevathan. Danny Trevathan played a football game the other night, busting players in the game. And then when the game got out of hand, you want somebody to set the tone. And I could give two fucks about the Green Bay Packers, okay, guys? This guy set the tone for the rest of the season that things got to change. We are tired of losing. And he freaking put a shot on this guy and put his ass down to the ground. Aldo could say what he wants. I played this game. I probably have CTE because I did have a lot of concussions. So you could criticize my remark right now. But I really, throughout the whole game, if you watched the way he played with passion and a fearlessness and a ferociousness that you want to see from an inside backer, putting running backs out of the game. This kid really came to play. And you know what? Just when I said, fuck Green Bay, he put that guy down. Accidentally happened. This is football. This isn't soccer. Stop giving yellow cards, okay? That doesn't work in this league. You're trying to take us out by suspending us. Danny Trevathan, you are my bear up of the week. Thank you, brother.
I like that pick. I'm not going to argue with that pick. You know, the fact that I think he may have committed an infraction and may have possibly brain damaged some guy, that's not going to stop me from supporting that pick.
It's a Packer, you pussy. Who cares?
Exactly. What are we talking about?
He's going to be drinking Ensure Shakes the rest of his life. Fuck off.
Well done. Well played. Well played. All right. I got some special music for the bear down. Here we go. The suspense is killing us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Shayne
The
Marsaw.
dumbest. The worst. The bear downs of the week.
She's I hate to ruin this stirring introduction by announcing who my bear down of the week. It's not a very exciting bear down, but I think it's something that nobody is talking about, guys, and that is old Mr. Connor Barth.
You were going there.
It's a fucking issue. I know I talk about field goal kickers too much, but I'm a little bit concerned here. 2 weeks in a row, and I want to know why Ryan Pace hasn't brought in some field goal kickers for tryouts. It seemed
I agree.
When he claimed the kid from Tampa there and brought him in, it spurred Connor Barth on a little bit there. They said he didn't miss anything in practice and in the preseason after that, and it seems like he's fallen off his perch a little bit. Yes, he has improved a lot with his kickoffs, which has really surprised me. He's done very well there. But this team, even, we're heading into this game with a rookie quarterback, and even back when we had Mike Glennon in there, we have such a razor-thin margin for error. I don't think this should be overlooked with a field goal kicker missing kicks like this. I think it's a definite issue in Chicago, and I think that Hallis Hall should be filled with kickers. I think Dan Durkin brought it up today and said the same thing. He's not sure why there's not a steady wave of kickers coming in and seeing what they can do. We saw how it worked out for Philadelphia with that rookie that they claimed in Cincinnati. Jesus, the kid goes out there and his first kick is a 61-yard game winner. And still to this day, I mean, Connor Barth improved last year, but I just don't have any confidence watching the guy kick field goals. I'm actually more surprised that it goes in than when he misses it. And I would just hate to see something develop on Monday night, guys, where you have this rookie quarterback that can come out and possibly put some points up and get a running game cranked up even more, and it comes down to a shanked field goal to lose the game. And I don't know. Connor Barth, you got to step up, man, because you're my bear down of the week. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, can't argue with that, right, Phil?
No, you can't.
Man.
Just checking if you got the audio that producer Dusty Rhodes, Reagan Padilla, so we could get to that after I give you my bear down of the week, because our fans know where to go to deliver stupidity so we can turn it into truth. So we got to get to that, Aldo. Producer Dusty Rhodes over here down in Florida. But my bear down, Aldo, little music suspense, was inspired.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm looking for Dustin, and so you threw me off there. I'm sorry.
We're going to get to Dustin's audio.
All right. Here we go.
Fuck is this Dustin we're talking about?
It's time for Bear It Down, Phil's pick.
Oh, yeah. This is inspired by the Godfather himself, Aldo Gandia. My bear down this week, fellas. The Chicago Bears go into halftime, and they have this game delay and all this crap going on, and you're getting embarrassed on national television, and Dion's talking, and David's Carr's talking. And you, the coach, John Fox, decide to trot this guy who pissed down his leg out there again when you had the perfect opportunity to possibly see if you could win this game when there wasn't a God's miracle. Jesus Christ could have came down.
He got no reps. He got no reps, Phil.
He could have not. There's no way. Exactly. John Fox, you are my absolute bear down of the week. Not only for making Bear fans wait to hear that you're moving to Trubisky, but for dropping the football off of Mike Glennon's knee and turning it over in a way that I've never seen in my life possible. You kept him in there to continue this utter destruction. It was putrid. John Fox is my bear down of the week for not making the switch when there wasn't a chance.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Go ahead, Shayne.
I was going to say that knee fumble spurred on probably the most action that we saw that night was the Twitter feud between the Chicago Bears and Butterfingers. I'm sure that you guys saw that. Yeah, they said, butter knees, and Chicago tweets back to Butterfingers, stick to candy. Butterfingers tweeted back to them, well, why don't you stick to football? Oh, wait, yeah, you're trying to. And, we're down 14 or whatever it was at that point. But, yeah, great call, Phil. You got knee fumble and Trubisky in between, and then butt fumble behind him. So Chicago's got the market cornered.
Unbelievable how terrible this coach is. But here's the one thing that I promise all of our followers, that now that Trubisky is the starting quarterback, now I'm going to change my focus into shining a spotlight on John Fox's idiocy, his lack of leadership, his lack of gamesmanship, his lack of charisma. I mean, I can go on. I think this guy is just maybe the top Bears worst coach ever, and that maybe that's not saying so much. Although we've had some pretty bad ones. That's for sure. I mean, Mark Trestman or John Fox. That's a tough call. But
they both had a good week of practice, Aldo.
That's right. But that's going to be my focus.
Trestman has a better record.
Yeah, that's right. Trestman does have a better record. You're absolutely right. And I got to admit that when Trestman came to the Bears, although I wanted Bruce Arians, I was intrigued and excited about the fact that here comes this guy from the Bill Walsh system, the system that I so admired as a kid growing up. And I thought, there might be some possibilities. It was a very, very risky choice by Phil Emery. And what Emery did wrong is that after year one, even though the Bears showed some promise at the end of that year, he probably should have just pulled the cord on that experiment and gone with a traditional NFL coach with the experience and leadership traits. Because that ended up being a huge, huge fiasco. But my focus is going to be on John Fox, and I'm going to be asking for the support of everyone at the Bears Bar Room and all of our followers and partners on this endeavor, because we got to get rid of this guy. And I don't care if the Bears go on and win the rest of their games. We have to think logically and smart about this. This guy is incapable of taking us to the next level. All right, I got that Dustin video here. Let's play this and see what we've got.
People in Minnesota were ecstatic. This is awesome. We got Dalvin Cook's hurt. Sam Bradford got hurt, missed time. We've had guys hurt the last 3 years. Oh, yeah, we'll take a rookie quarterback on Monday night. His first start,
Would you rather play Mitch Trubisky than Mike Glennon? Mitch Trubisky, there's a little unknown. Mike Glennon, is terrible.
No. Mitch Trubisky is backing up the guy who's terrible. So what do you think he is?
All right, fair.
Oh my God!
You think they're hiding some secret weapon?
Oh my fucking God.
Oh
Don't do cocaine, kids. That's all I got to say.
Holy
Christ.
See, I couldn't hear it. All I saw was Dustin saying speechless, then Shayne tweeting, "Don't do cocaine, kids." And now that I'm hearing it, this guy played in the NFL. This guy played in the NFL and actually thinks that's logic? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, seriously, straight from Brooklyn, New York. Are you fucking kidding me here? Are you fucking talking to me over here?
That's right.
I mean, you gotta be dumb as a box of rocks to come out and say, this guy's behind him, so he's worse. The only worse is the guy that Aldo's talking about, the coach, for not having an open competition.
Yep.
So this kid would have beat Atlanta and beat Tampa and beat Pittsburgh because he offers so much more. Are you kidding me? As a defensive coordinator, you want a statue that pissed down his legs on national television last week, or an unknown? The announcer's asking the right question. You're stupid on both levels. Oh my, I'm sick.
Mike Zimmer's got to be watching that and saying, "Chris, are you fucking crazy? We'd much rather face Mike Glennon." I mean, let's be honest.
God.
There's not a team in the league that wouldn't rather face Mike Glennon than, I mean, any unknown rookie quarterback at this point.
Our timeline is blowing up with fans commenting on Cris Carter drinking again, cocaine again, Scar with what a fucking moron over here.
Lou Hempen says, I'm having a hard time comprehending the stupidity of that statement. Cris Carter needs to go home and stay there forever.
Louis, no, Maron.
Yeah, and Stella says, CC must be drinking again.
Jesus.
We are in another world.
Roy,
finally Dustin tweets out something that's good.
Roy the Wolf Hunter has a meme saying, cocaine, man, it's a hell of a drug. That is unbelievable.
I'm glad we got that on there, because let me tell you, we're dealing with some serious national stupidity right as we're talking about it, Aldo. Thank you, Dustin, for bringing Cris Carter to center stage. He might have Heath Evans beat.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see if he doubles down on this for sure.
I can't wait to see what transpires.
Unbelievable. All right, guys, we are going to finish the show by talking about this whole John Fox situation. I am worried, and that's why I want to take up this campaign, this #FireFox campaign. I am worried that if they go on a win streak, you know how rookie quarterbacks sometimes save head coaches' jobs, right? So, first of all, let me ask you guys the question. Are you as worried that as I am, that if the Bears end up with a 500 record and Trubisky starts showing what we all know he's going to show, the promise of being a franchise quarterback, are you concerned that Ryan Pace and the Chicago Bears organization is going to keep John Fox as the head coach? Shayne, let me begin with you.
It is a concern because, let's be honest, I mean, at this point, we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we saw how the draft unfolded. None of us could have predicted that. But at the same point, I think that Ryan Pace, his career as a general manager, and these general managers, once you're a general manager and you lose that gig, there's not a lot of recycled general managers out there. It's usually a one-and-done type deal with a lot of these guys. I think Ryan Pace knows that he's tied to Mitch Trubisky, and he's going to do whatever is best for Mitch Trubisky. This step of putting him in at quarterback, there's no looking back. There's no turning back from this point. I've seen people out there saying, if he falters, John Fox is such a horrible coach, he'll probably just go right back to Mike Lennon. That's not an option. I mean, other than injury, you're riding with this kid, and this is. I really think that I hope Ryan Pace is smart enough to realize that with him being tied to Mitch Trubisky, at the hip, that if Trubisky goes down in a ball of flames, Ryan Pace is going to be right there with him. And I think if there's any doubt in Ryan Pace's mind that John Fox is not the best possible option for Mitch Trubisky, which, guys, we know that to be true, that he's not, I just don't see any way other than ownership stepping in and stepping on Ryan Pace's toes and saying, we're not going to pay this guy money to not be here, which the Bears have proven in the past that they are willing to do that. But I just kind of looking at it from the outside, I think Ryan Pace is going to do what's best for his quarterback. I don't think that includes John Fox, so I fully expect him not to be here. I mean, this is a franchise that moved on from a head coach that went 10-6, and if the Chicago Bears finish 7-9, I don't, for some reason, at this point being 1-3, just throwing that out there, I still don't think that's enough to save John Fox.
Yeah, I'm right there with Shayne and you, Aldo. It concerns me because you can see a team rise up over the coach with the new quarterback coming in, and the fit with Dowell's scheme is clear. Exactly what Roma was talking about in truth. So that's why we've been pounding this table so hard to have a head coach not step in. Even if the GM was selling me Glennon, I would rather, and I'm being dead serious, in being a coach and being honest with you and knowing the assessment of winning being the most important thing only, telling me I have to play this guy because we spent, then I walk. I have too much pride to watch my players who bust their ass, who love this game, who I want to go out there and win, and I'm not giving them the fair shot at that. That's where I got a problem with this coach. If it was his decision or the GM's, he's lost. You follow me? Mm-hmm. And that's why he's my bear down, because he had an opportunity to say, you know what, winning's important to this team at halftime, and put your second string quarterback in, who should be your first string. He didn't. So now we're going to call Mitch up and tell him now's your time, because obviously, I mean, anybody in football knows what they saw against Atlanta, what they saw against Tampa, and Pittsburgh was probably the worst performance was Pittsburgh, and they won despite him. It never was going to get better. So to be a head coach and throw him out there against your rival, to me, that's not championship form. If this team turns it around, you need someone else here that, I don't care what age they are and all. We want a young guy, and I just want someone that doesn't give two fucks about the McCaskies or Ted Phillips, and only care about the passion of the Chicago Bear jersey and the scoreboard. That's it. Nobody's feelings are more important to them, to you, than winning. And Lombardi, we praise it. We lift the trophy up as the champions of the world, yet we forget how important winning is, instead of just giving everyone a participation award now. That has become the Chicago Bears. And that isn't the team that I grew up with. You could say whatever you want about Mike Ditka. He gave two shits about ownership, about anything but winning. And what result transpired. And that is the path. And same with the old man. Mm-hmm. So somewhere along the gene line, they forgot and I can give two craps. I'm telling you like it is, that the fans are more important than some quarterback you spent money on's feelings. The fans are the reason why there is a Chicago Bears and why there is an NFL. And you really have to put winning, not the anthem, not all this political invading football, winning. And I think Mitch Trubisky is here. I think John Fox is a sour apple in a sweet batch. Got to get rid of him. Got to get a guy here that's going to take the bull by the horn and say, they got scared off, Aldo, on your guy, Bruce Arians. I think this franchise would be in a different place had they taken him. You look up the guy, I don't know what it is. What is it? West of you at Ann Arbor, Michigan, and you pay him whatever the fuck he wants because he gets it. He gets it. And guess what you'll get? Championships. It's proven. The guy wins. And he'll win with every kind of way in the recruiting game, in the philosophical game, as well as the X's and O game. Jimmy Harbaugh, born and bred a Chicago Bear. That's his dream job. So don't give me any shit. He wouldn't leave. I hear the argument all the time. The guy would, because that's your dream job. It's like I'm coaching the Jets, but the Bears job opens up and they really want me. I'm being honest with you. I would go to be my passion and win there for that city. And John Fox, I know I gave you the long rant, but tonight is the night that this franchise is in its infancy stage of changing because you got a new quarterback. I believe you're 100% right. I don't see a future with John Fox.
Let me tell you, Phil, that to get your list of people that you want to give a shout out to, we'll do that over the closing music. And let me just close the show with my own opinion.
The Mike D shout out section.
There you go. With my own opinion on this whole issue, I want to believe in Ryan Pace as much as I believe in Mitch Trubisky. Now, Ryan Pace has given us a lot of reasons to doubt his ability to be the general manager this franchise needs. He's made some bad calls. His very first call, his decision as general manager, was one of them. He needs to rectify that as soon as possible. If he thinks that that he has to wait until the season is over to fix that mistake, then so be it. I'll give him that, although I would prefer to see a change at the bye. If he should have, with this whole Mike Glennon thing, fixed that mistake too. After week 2, he should have gone to the coaching staff and say, let Mitch share some of the snaps with the first teamers, because the change has to happen soon. I think I made a mistake, and I don't know how you guys in the coaching staff feel, but I'm watching the films like you guys are. This guy ain't cutting it. I made a mistake, so start giving Mitch the first string reps, and we'll get him ready as soon as possible. He should have cleaned up that error that he made. Now he needs to clean up this John Fox error, because that's what it was. It was an error. It was a mistake. It was a blunder. Call it whatever the fuck you want. He's got to fucking fix this. And we're going to help him. We're going to help him. We're going to start a campaign, #FireFox. Maybe that's the best way to go, or whatever it is we decide on. We're going to start it, and we're going to go full board to make sure that John Fox is gone. And it's no offense to the guy personally. He's probably a nice guy, although I understand he talks a hell of a lot when you sit down with him. But he's just not getting it done. And I've worked in business where I had to fire friends of mine. And so I have no soft heart here when it comes to the head football coach who's a multimillionaire. It's time for you to go. And it's time for us to go too. So, as always, I want to let you know that, please, if you drink, don't drive. And always, bear down.
Bear down, boys.
See you, Mike Glennon. Bye.
Bye-bye, Mikey.
It's been real. See ya.
Pick up your knees.
Stop back at 12. Stop back at 12 games. Pick up John Fox. See ya.
Him and Fox driving with a sunroof.
No, it's gonna be like Alan.
Driving.
It's gonna be like Alan from The Hangover driving his giraffe down the freeway. Hits the overpass, decapitates the giraffe.
Oh yeah. Listen, I want to send some shout outs to some loyal listeners. I'm going to send a shout out to Robert Phelan, Josh Masagatani. Hey, Joshy boy, how you doing? Tommy Missile Crisis. Robin, you got to give it up for Robin, guys. She's been really active with us.
I love Robin.
You gotta love Robin. Mikey Glennon, the gangsta. Tom Hansen has been really supporting the Bears Barroom Bonanza, as we call it. Isaiah Robles over at Bears Turf. I shouted him out. How about Marlon? Really, the Bellamy's #1 fan.
I think his last name is Bellamy. Marlon Bellamy.
You gotta shout out Topless Bears girl, whatever.
Topless from Canada.
Canada, yeah.
Canada. Blame Canada.
TOPLESS in Canada. It's cold up there.
There was Zach Cycle has been really supporting the call, and Nelson. I appreciate the shout out from Nelson. What a good dude shouting me out as well. I can't skip over Dustin. Dustin coming through on the production end, giving us some great audio, Shayne. He stepped up.
It's about time he did something.
So those are my people this week. I'm sure there's others. I mean, the fans have been great, Aldo. I know you and I and Shayne have been talking about it, really bringing this to the forefront. I wish we could shout you all out. I'm going to continue to do this. Whoever's most active, Fly the W, he's always active. You're coming at us, you support us, you disagree with us, anything's fine. I'm not taking it personally. Neither is Shayne or Aldo. We just appreciate you going down, review the podcast, give it 5 stars, promote this stuff to the utmost. We work hard here. We try to bring you the best product and the most fun you can have to enjoy wins and losses.
Absolutely. And one more thing we want to throw out there is all of us at Bears Barroom, we're Team Hogue. We saw this little Twitter fight today with Rich Campbell and Dan Weeder. Those two little piss ants that all just want to bitch all day. They don't like life. They don't like their jobs. They want to piss and moan about covering football. Bears Barroom, we're Team Hogue.
Team Hogue, 100%.
Yeah, that seemed like there was something personal going on there. I don't know if those guys might have been offended about something Adam wrote, because these guys have been, doubting that Trubisky can kind of step in and be effective, and they've been writing about it, talking about it on the radio and so forth, and so they may have misinterpreted or interpreted Adam, his first tweet in that thread, as a diss on them, and they went back at it like mean girls. And I'm with you.
Them.
Yep, I'm with you guys. Team Hogue all the way. He is the most astute football analyst, writer out there. Him and Dan Durkin is pretty good too. He does a great
I like
job.
Dan.
Yeah, does a great job of watching the film and breaking it down for us. Both Hogue and Durkin are two guys I'd love to have a beer with.
I also want to shout out Big Bear.
Big Bear!
Supporting. And Leroy Diggers. He's been Leroy Diggler, at Leroy Diggler. Guys, this show, 100 proof. Shayne Marsaw, the smartest man, Aldo.
He really
Trubisky now came to fruition. All the tape we did, all the movies, Fire Fox campaign.
Oh my God. And hey Phil, why don't you tell the audience what we're planning to do for Bears Hour Live next Monday night?
Oh, Aldo kind of was teasing this idea to me about going live in the second half and really bringing a little play-by-play as well as some analytics, and really it would be the Trubisky Now live show for Bears Hour
shut
Live.
down by the NFL, but fuck them. Fuck Roger Goodell. We're taking over the league.
It's gonna be a first, something we never did. Go live during the game and have me coach it up for you.
Awesome. Can't wait. I wish I could go to sleep and wake up and it's Monday night. They're playing the music. All right, fellas. I'm running out of music here. Say goodbye. Say goodbye to me. Say goodbye to Shayne. Say goodbye to Phil. Man, I wish I could rap. Damn.
Go check out my tweet. I called you out for it on Twitter, Aldo.
Oh, thanks.
I can't wait to hear this rap because it was so funny live. It was great. Now I get to hear it tomorrow.
All right, I'll have this up in a couple hours, fellas. All right, good night, and kiss your wives for me.
Another great show in the books.
Well done, fellas.
Shayne collecting baby batter and everything.
Right on your forehead.
Great stuff tonight, Aldo. That was awesome.
Later, guys.
Cool. All right, Shayne. Good job tonight.
Yeah,
Wasn't
you
your
too, man.
best performance, but
I know.
we'll
I know.
take it.
I Jay Cutlered it.
I love you.
All right, man. Later.
Later, fellas.